What all am I getting? How long will it take? What else have others accomplished? Who all gonna be over there? These are all questions that I've heard people ask as they're trying to make the decision when they're basically in deliberation about whether or not to invest in themselves. What all am I getting? Like, what all does it come with? How long will it take? What time? How long do I have to be there? What else? How many people in my situation have actually gotten it? Like, what have they gotten to? Right? These are all questions that I've heard individuals ask when they're trying to decide whether or not to invest in themselves. I've been coaching for a long time and I have seen thousands, talked to many people, seen hundreds of people come through our programs, and inevitably, everybody wants to know what's in it for me. When they're trying to make a decision on whether or not to invest in themselves, what's in it for me? However, I have some counter questions. Listen, let me tell you what happens when you start getting really, really comfortable with who you are as a business owner, with who you are as a coach. You start asking rebuttal questions, right? So when people are trying to make the decision on whether or not to invest in themselves and they say stuff like, what am I getting? I'm like, well, what are you giving? How long will it take? I'm like, well, how often will you work? What have other people accomplished? I'm like, well, what do you have a history of accomplishing? We ask so many questions when it is time to invest in ourselves because we are so afraid of not getting a return on our investment. However, you have to know there are some inputs that are required for the outputs that you're looking for. What up, y'all? I'm Lisa A. Smith, your favorite health and business coach, reporting here on assignment. You feel me? And today I'm going to share with you 3 ways to guarantee a return on your investment in yourself. In yourself. So, we know when it comes to traditional investment vehicles, where we're kind of talking from a financial literacy standpoint, investment vehicles all have different ranges of a rate of return. Investing in the stock market might produce a certain return. Investing in real estate might produce a certain return. Investing in other companies and entrepreneurs might produce a certain return. And so all investment vehicles have what's deemed an average return, an average ROI, right? However, there is one investment vehicle that I believe to have the highest and most guaranteed return on investment that many of us are not taking advantage of, and that is an investment in yourself. Now, some of you, many of you, because you're really smart and talented, you understand the value of investing in yourself. However, I don't know if you understand what's required to get a return on that investment in yourself. So I'm going to share with you 3 ways to guarantee an ROI when you invest in yourself. Now, when I say invest in yourself, many of you have goals and you have things you want to accomplish personally and professionally. And so in the last several years, things like coaching has really taken off. Things like courses have really taken off. Programming, things like live events, conferences, summits, right? Things that you pay for to go and learn something or enhance a skill. And that is essentially an investment in yourself. You're either investing in your knowledge, you're investing in your personal development. We're often investing to learn more, to do more, right? However, I want to make sure you guys have a formula for getting an ROI, a return on that particular investment. Because if you don't, and I've seen this happen many, many times as a coach, you will not get an ROI, and your reason for not getting one will be skewed. So let me break it down for you. And let's talk about how to get an ROI when you invest in yourself. Okay. So I'm not referring to other traditional investment vehicles, but you have to know here's why investing in yourself is the most lucrative investment you can ever make. It's because it's the only investment where you have 100% control and you can legit guarantee a ROI. And you can guarantee a ROI 100, 200, 300, 400% above what you invested. Like, that's the dope thing about investing in yourself is that the potential for the ROI is so great. The potential for the ROI is so high. And I learned this many years ago when I first started investing in myself, like, oh, okay. Input determines output. And a lot of us, we know that, ideologically, our behavior doesn't reflect that. We know that. And so that's my challenge. And so think when I did these lives and had these conversations was that, oh, I don't want to tell people stuff they already know. But I'm like, no. You got to tell them what they already know, because you want to talk about the things that they're not applying that they already know. So I'm just here to repeat a lot of stuff that you already know, but your behavior doesn't reflect what you already know. And so, as you guys know, output is determined by input. So let's talk about 3 ways to guarantee a return on your investment. Sips tea. Here's number 1. You have to learn how to communicate. You have to learn how to communicate, i.e., you have to be clear on what you want. When you invest in a coach, in a course, you go to a conference, whatever it is, right? You have an opportunity to talk to somebody who has the potential to help you out in a certain way. You have to learn how to communicate. What I find so often is people are not good at communicating what they want out of that investment. So what that means is, I believe people have a misunderstanding of what communication really means. Communication does not have anything to do with what you said. People like, I told them, I said this. Communication is determined by what was received. So just because you said it doesn't mean you communicated. Communication is determined by what landed, which means if you're in a suitability interview with me, for example, for a coaching program that we offer, and I'm in an interview and I'm asking you what your needs are, what your wants are, why did you apply today? What are you looking to get out of this business accelerator? And you're unable to communicate to me what you need, meaning once I repeat it back to you, it should be very clear that you were heard and it landed on the other end. Communication is not what was said, it is what was received. So your ability to communicate your needs will determine significantly the ROI, the return on investment you get when you invest in yourself. We have to become better communicators. And listen, now I will give you guys some of us, when we're trying to invest in ourselves, we're so far outside of our comfort zone that we don't even know what we need. We like, I just know I want to be in real estate. I just know I want to be a coach. I just know I feel called to live a plant-based lifestyle, but I'm actually not sure exactly what I need, Lisa. No problem. No problem. If you can't fully communicate what you need, you at least must be able to communicate what you want. So and what you want and what you need are 2 very different things, because as a coach, let's say you're an aspiring coach, you come to me like, Lisa, I want to sit under you. I want to learn from you. You're doing, and I've heard this plenty of times, you're doing exactly what I want to do. You speak, you coach, you travel for a living, you're living on your own terms. I want to do exactly what you're doing. I've heard that multiple times in my career. And so they're able to tell me at least that's what they want. I want my coaching career, my coaching company, whatever, to look similar to yours. You're serving the people I want to serve. You're doing it on your own terms. It seems like you get to be your authentic self. I love that. I want to model that. Okay, great. Now we can start a conversation. Now I can ask some more detailed and some more nuanced questions to get even more clarity on what it is you want. Because I ask both questions. I might say, well, what do you need? What do you feel like you're lacking that's preventing you from achieving this goal? And they'll be like, I guess I need a program. Maybe I need an offer. I don't even know. I'm marketing. I don't know. And that's okay. Because when something is new, like I'm writing a book right now, right? And so I've met with 2 coaches so far to get some direction on how to effectively write this book. And I don't fully know everything I need. I'm like, I think I need an editor, but I don't know when I need the editor. Do I need the editor now? Should I wait till the whole first draft is done? Or should I bring them in earlier to review what I've already done? And also, what is the job of an editor? Is it just grammar? Or do they put ideas? Like, it's confusion, right? But if you cannot articulate what you need, at least be able to articulate what you want. And articulating what you want is just what you daydream about. Like articulating what you want is the fun part. Not the easiest, but one of the best ways to get a return on your investment in yourself is, number one, you have to get better at communication, because you will accidentally find yourself in a program, at a conference, at a summit, at an event, with a coach, with a course that doesn't with what you need to get to the next step. So if you don't know what you need, when you're reading over their copy, or you're reading over their website, or you're in the suitability interview, or you're filling out the application, your inability to articulate what you want and or what you need may cause you to make not the best decision in that next investment for yourself. So, and then what happens is you get into that program, that course, that program, that event or whatever, and you like, this ain't exactly it. This has happened to me before. I'm like, oh, I'm about 8 steps ahead of what they talking about. This is not what I needed. They talking to people who have a different need, right? And so you have to be clear, because when you know what you want or need, you can ask the right questions up front to avoid making an investment that doesn't align, okay? So that's number one. I'm sipping on some mint tea and some cherry blossom tea. It's weird, okay? Number two, the second way to guarantee a ROI when you invest in yourself is a shift in belief, which is this: you must see yourself as an investment vehicle whose performance determines the rate of return. You must see yourself as an investment vehicle, just like you see the stock market as an investment vehicle, just like you see real estate as an investment vehicle, just like you see angel investing or other businesses as an investment vehicle. You have to also see yourself as an investment vehicle whose performance determines the rate of return, meaning your own performance is a huge determinant of how much you get in return. Now, here's the belief that people normally go into it with that makes them not so great and may not get a major return on investment. People will invest and they will think the rate of return is determined by the person or the program they invested in. Does that make sense? So you have to realize you are the determinant. Like, it's your performance. Now, let's be clear. So let me break this down really simple. Let's say you're investing in a coach, right? You want to hire a coach to take your business to the next level, take your health to the next level, take your spirituality to the next level, whatever it is. The mistake that people make when they do that is they think the coach is responsible. They think the coach's performance, like, you better be smart, you better have every answer to every question I have, you better have like everything laid out perfectly for me on the back end. And I'm not saying you're wrong. Like, your expectations are your expectations. But unfortunately, we don't take dual responsibility. Yes, you have expectations of the coach, you have expectations of the thing or the person you're investing in, as you should. I know I do. I invest a lot of money, I got expectations. However, the other side of that coin is you have to realize that your performance also determines the rate of return. Just like the stock market. Like, we put money into the stock market, we invest in Tesla, and we like, please God, don't let Elon Musk say nothing crazy this quarter so I can get a return on my investment. Because you don't really have control. You don't have control over what shenanigans he may or may not pull, right? When you invest in a traditional investment vehicle, right? A stock market, a business, real estate, or whatever, you're basing the rate of your return on its performance. But when you invest in yourself, your rate of return is based on your performance. Your performance. You play a huge role in what your rate of return is going to be. And let me tell you how I know. I've been in multiple communities over the years, and we all come into the community at the same time. But somehow, at the end of the year, some of us are like knocking it out the park, got all of these things going on, all of the success from being in the ecosystem, being in the community. And there's other people who all started at the same time and had the exact same access to the same resources, and they are disappointed, and they are like feeling like the coach let them down, feeling like the program let them down, and it's like, but did they? I'm gonna go back to the questions we started with. You ask, what am I getting? And I ask, what are you giving? You ask, how long will it take? And I ask, how often will you work? You ask, what have other people accomplished? I ask, what do you have a history of accomplishing? Your return, your rate of return is determined by your performance. If you start seeing yourself as an investment vehicle that has to work in order to get a return on your investment, you will see the difference. Now, if y'all didn't recognize me sipping this tea, it's the same as me throwing a little shade. Let me say it out loud. Travis says, as she sips her tea, amen. Okay. So I want you guys to understand the difference between investing in yourself and investing something outside of you whose performance determines the rate of return. Right. So, number two, in essence, I'm saying stop making your return somebody else's responsibility. I was telling my mastermind on Tuesday, we were talking about showing up in communities, and we were talking about like showing up and taking up space. Like if you invest in yourself and you invest in a community, you invest in a coach, we were talking about the value of taking up space. And one of my mastermind members was giving like kudos and showing love to another mastermind member. She was like, because you just being here telling your stuff, asking for the help, getting, and she was like, I often think about you and think about how like I admire the fact that you show up and you like are transparent and you ask for the help and you like, I think it's so cool. And I was like, you think it's cool that she take up space in a space that she invested in? Yeah, it is cool. But you realize the same space is available to you, right? And so the importance of making sure you understand your ROI is determined by your willingness to perform. People be like, how long do it take? I'm like, that's completely determined by how often you'll work. Like, this is a 3-month program. This is a 1-year program. Like, does it really take 1 year? You tell me. You tell me. Of course, I have general data that you're looking for. On average, how long can somebody finish? I can tell you that, but that won't mean anything until you determine how bad do you want it and how much you're willing to do to get it. Right. And so some of us are investing in ourselves, but not understanding whose responsibility it is to get a return on that investment. Let's talk about the final one. The final one, this is absolutely the biggest and most important. This is the biggest and most important component to guaranteeing a return on your investment when you invest in yourself. Number 3 is you have to calculate the cost of inaction. Now, here's the small print on this one. There are 2 types of inaction. Hey, good morning, Melanie on Instagram. Hey, coach. There's 2 types of inaction. 2 major types of inaction. Most of the time when somebody who teaches business like myself says cost of inaction, usually we're talking about the cost of not making the investment in the first place, right? So you have the cost of inaction, meaning if I present my program to you, if I present Farm to Table Plant-Based Coaching Program, or if I present the Plant Protocol Business Accelerator, and I tell you, what we do, I tell you who it's for, and you're like, yup, that's what I need. Yup, that's for me, right? And then at the end of the call, though, you're like, but I think I'm just going to wait. When I say cost of inaction, there's a cost associated with that. There's a cost of not taking the action with moving forward with the investment. There's a cost of not buying the course. There's a cost of not investing in coaching. There's a cost of not attending the conference, right? There's that whatever you could have got access to could have potentially sped up to you achieving your goals, okay? Now, let's put some small print out there. I'm not talking about scammers and people who are dishonest and don't have integrous programs, right? I'm talking about y'all know these people, been in business for years. They cannot afford to risk scamming you one time. They can't risk the integrity of their whole business and their whole empire on not producing a good product. So I'm talking about products and services that y'all already believe in. You've been watching them for a while. You've seen other people do it and have success. You already believe in the integrity and the person who's selling it and what they selling. Okay. So there's a cost of inaction. There's a cost of not investing in whatever they're selling. That's a cost of inaction. However, the other cost of inaction, good morning, Gwendolyn on YouTube. The other cost of inaction that I have rarely heard anybody consider is the cost of investing and not taking action after you invest. So there's a cost of never investing in the first place. That's a cost of inaction. So you never get a return on your investment because you never make the investment. But the one I'm talking about here on how to ensure you get a return on your investment is you actually do invest. You like, yep, Lisa, I've been praying for this. Yep, Lisa, you're exactly what I've been looking for. Yep, Lisa, this community is exactly what I need to go to the next level. You understand fully what you're getting. You feel like it's perfectly aligned with what you're trying to accomplish, right? You believe in the integrity of the program and the person who's selling it, right? And so you go forward and you make the investment. But after you make the investment, you don't show up. That's cost of inaction is the one you need to calculate in order to understand how to maximize your ROI. Many people think the transaction is the end of, no, the transaction is only the beginning. It is not, it has nothing to do with your ROI. Like you having access to the curriculum, you having access to the replays, you having access to all of that stuff means nothing if you never use it. It means nothing if you never log into the portal. It means nothing if you never come to the coaching sessions. It means nothing if you don't do the homework. Like the cost of inaction is what happens if I pay money for this conference, for this course, for this thing, and I sit here and sleep through the whole thing? What happens if I invest to be in something for 1 year, but I wait 6 months before I even start showing up? That cost. And then I get to the end of my year and now I'm trying to rush and hustle to finish. And now I want people to work with me and help me finish in the time that was allotted, although I slept on this thing for 6 months. That cost of inaction. You're not going to get the highest rate of return on your investment because you made the investment and you never fully showed up. You have to calculate the cost of inaction. I invested in this thing. Now, the cost of inaction, meaning you buy, but you never actually do the work, is higher than the cost of inaction when you never invest. It's higher. That's a worse rate of return when you buy and don't do the work versus never buying in the first place. So many of us, we just wrapped up our 30-day vegan, no salt, no oil, no sugar challenge yesterday and we had a lot of people. I'm gonna tell you this, we had exactly 700. We had exactly 700 people register for the challenge. We didn't have 700 people on a live cause every Wednesday and Saturday. We didn't have 700 people in the portal. We only got up to 300 some people in the challenge portal. Now, we did have 1.1K, over 1,000 people in the Facebook group, but a whole bunch of them wasn't. I'm just saying, somebody didn't calculate the cost of inaction. Somebody didn't calculate the cost of inaction. And this is why investing in yourself and having a monetary component attached to it is also really important. And only to a certain extent. Like people minimize, or I think just the opposite. People overstate how important it is for people to invest financially to do the work. Because being a coach for as many years as I've been a coach, I have seen a ton of people make financial investments and never show up. I have seen a ton of people throw money out of the window. They will literally, and I ain't talking about $97. I ain't talking about $190. I'm talking about thousands. I've had people pay thousands of dollars for coaching programs and literally never show up. Like I had one person, what she paid, like $2,500, $3K, something like that for a program. She didn't do one thing. She didn't come to class not one time. She didn't access the portal not one time. Like nothing. I'm telling you right now, you guys have to stop thinking that the ROI is determined by somebody other than yourself. You have to start understanding that in order to go to the next level in whatever area of your life you're trying to go to the next level in, number one, the most guaranteed investment you can make is an investment in yourself, because it's the only investment where you legit have full control. You have full control. Because if you know how to do The next thing, which is know how to communicate. Remember, I told you have to be clear on what you want, and being clear on what you want is about mastering communication. And mastering communication is about understanding that it's not just what you said, it's what was received. That's how we determine whether or not we communicate. Like me yelling at my partner, me yelling at my friend and saying the same thing over and over again does not mean I communicated something to them. It's when they are able to verify that what I said was received in the way I intended. That's communication, right? If you're able to communicate and articulate what it is you want and or need out of an investment, that means when you get into the investment, when you get into actively going through the thing and you're realizing that it's not necessarily hitting the spot, you at least have the ability to pivot right then. Like, hey, coach, hey, course creator, hey, conference organizer, we're going to do this? Are we going to cover this? When is this going to come up? Right? Like, at what point can I expect this? Right? You still have time to make the investment worth your while if you master communication. You still have time to make it worth your while. I've been in communities with people who I watch sit back and complain. Ooh, humans are wild. Sit back and complain about something they're not getting or receiving that they thought they would. And you complaining to us and you never going to the person. You never going to the, and you determined to be mad about it. Like, you determined to be mad, or are you determined to get what you invested in? Like, what it's going to be? All I know is I ain't never not got a return on my investment. Double negatives are like my favorite thing. I was reviewing, I did 2 keynotes this weekend for our online summit, right? And I was taking a walk yesterday and I was listening back to them because I always like, watch my own tapes so I can just try and get better and edit myself. And in both of those keynotes, I said, you ain't never not. You ain't never not. And I realized I love it. Or that's one of the things I'm never editing. Like, oh, I love it when I say that. You ain't never not gonna get. I'm like, oh, I just love my Blackness. Like, if y'all don't do nothing else in life, make sure you create a life where you get to be your authentic self. You hear me? But we have to just understand that, like, what you get is determined by how well you're able to communicate, and making sure that the person who's listening, and listening could be live in real time, listening to your voice, listening can be a communication via email, a text message. Like, you got to verify that the message was received in the way it was intended, that they are clear on what you need. I remember my coach asked me, he just recently was part of our summit, and me and him was texting one day about it. And he's like, what do you need? What do you want out of this? Like, what's the goal? Right. And I'm like, and I knew what I wanted and I knew what I needed. And I was able to put it in words that were understood. He was like, got it. And then the day of the thing, he wrote back to me like, let's make this happen that you said. I'm like, bam, he got it. He understood exactly what I needed and exactly what I wanted. It was clear. Like, that is the best way to get an ROI. Now, I'm gonna give y'all a bonus one before we leave up out of here. This one is really important. I just thought about it because I was thinking about, like, how have I been able to get a ROI out of every single investment I've made in myself. I don't care if I invested in getting a personal trainer, I invested in getting a health coach, business coach, like every investment I've made in myself. I go to a lot of conferences. I travel a lot for personal development. I read a lot of books. And I ain't never not got a ROI, never not. You feel me? And I'm gonna tell you guys one that I think above all else has really played a major role in me being able to get a return on every investment I make in myself. So I went over 3 of them with you today. Here's a bonus one, number 4, before we get out of here, which is I've went into these last several investments healed. Lean in. Here's what I see with a lot of my students, whether they're my students in our plant-based coaching program, Farm to Table, or our students in my business accelerator, Plant Protocol, in my mastermind Clarity. Here's what I see. I see people come into programs, and because they're not healed from some type of trauma, because they're, what was once survival habits have not now turned into bad habits, they don't get a ROI on their investment in themselves because they have stories and limiting beliefs and a perception of themselves that is preventing them from showing up, preventing them from raising their hand, preventing them from moving up to the front of the class, preventing them from articulating their needs and desires, preventing them from asking for help because they're too ashamed, because historically in their life, asking for help was a bad thing. They were felt like they always had to be perfect, and help is a problem. When you heal from that, you can not only get a better ROI when you invest in yourself, but you can get a ROI quicker. I came into the relationship with my current coach so healed. So when he asked me what I needed, I was able to tell him, but here's where the heal part came into place. When he told me what to do to get it, I was able to do it. Like then the 2-day summit that we're coming off of right now, he suggested that we do that. He suggested that we have an event. He knew somebody else in the health space that had an event. He saw them have success with that. He said, consider having an event. I said, will do. Nothing came up about, oh my God, I'm scared. I'm scared of failing. Nothing came up about, oh my God, that's going to require me to be on camera or me to speak. Nothing came up about, oh my God, what are people going to think about me if this or if that? There were no limiting beliefs that prevented me from taking the action I was instructed to take, because I'm healed from that. I don't have an issue with people pleasing. I don't have any body insecurities. I don't have any insecurities about the way I talk or my intelligence. I don't have any shame about anything. I have integrity with what I'm selling. I'm actually living what I'm selling. And so there is nothing behind the scenes that will prevent me from taking the action that I was instructed to take. Therefore, when he told me to move, I moved, and I'm now guaranteeing a ROI. Does that make sense? So but also the most important component that you need to get a ROI on your investment is healing. Because here's the thing, even if you master the ability to communicate and articulate what you need and want, even if you already see yourself as an investment vehicle whose performance determines the ROI, even if you've already calculated the cost of inaction, right? When you tell your coach or whatever you're investing in what you want, and they come back and tell you what you got to do to get it, and you're not healed, what you gonna do? Not do what they told. It's like in Farm to Table when people be like, Lisa, how do I live a plant-based diet like during the holidays? Like anytime we have cohorts around Christmas and Thanksgiving, they're like, how do I do this with my family? How do I do this when I eat out? How do I do this when I travel? Now, here's the answer to that question. I'm like, oh, you got to demand inclusion. I was like, have you told people you were doing this so that accommodations can be made for you? Have you told the event or the organizer ahead of time that you were coming and you're plant-based to make sure that there were accommodations made for you? Have you told your family that you're prioritizing your health right now, and unfortunately you're not going to be able to make grandma's mac and cheese? No. Now here's where the healing part comes in. I'm ashamed to speak up. I don't want to be the problem. Basically, what I've heard a lot of people say is, I'm ashamed to take up space. I don't want to raise my hand in the office when they're ordering lunch and stuff and tell them to, I just don't want to get in the way. I don't want to. You better go somewhere and heal, and I can tell and do what I told you to do. You can't even follow instruction because you still people pleasing. You can't even follow instruction because you still have insecurities. You can't even follow instruction because you so worried about letting people down. You can't follow instruction. How you gonna get an ROI and you still broken? I don't know what to tell you after that. You can't get an ROI on your investment because the things that's required to do what you need to do to get what you want, your brokenness won't allow you to do them. I'm too afraid to advocate for myself. That's all the instruction I got for you. And now you looking at me like the next weekend or come January, I gained 5 pounds. Did you demand inclusion? No, I just went along with what everybody else was eating because, well, then I can't help you. I done told you what to do. Your own brokenness prevented you from doing it. Now, what is we gonna do? Because what you're not about to do is try and come to the end of the semester talking about, I ain't get the same results everybody else got. Whew. I would like to present the jury Exhibit A class back on November 1st, 2023, when I specifically told them to do X. I got evidence on why you ain't got the result. Kiwi says sip your tea. Okay. My bad. Shout out to having the right hand who can calm you down. Cause listen, like, so if you want to get a ROI, you have to make sure you go into a situation with the attitude of whatever I'm asked to do, I feel healthy enough to be in a position to do it. Like I feel health. Like if you want to become a speaker, I remember I invested in a mastermind for speakers, and I was in that mastermind for a year, and she was like, you got to pitch yourself. You got to pitch yourself multiple times a week, over and over and over again. Can you imagine how scary that is for somebody who doesn't believe in themselves? Can you imagine how she's like, if you want these opportunities, if you want to speak for these organizations, if you want to develop licensing agreements and long-term relationships with these organizations, then this is what you have to do. She gave the instruction. Not only did she give them the instruction, she gave templates. Here's the email. Here's what I would say. Here's what I would do. Here's when I would send it. Here's when I would follow up. Here's what I would say in the follow-up. And people still weren't doing it. We would come to the live classes every week, and she like, how somebody would ask a question, and she'd be like, well, how many times did you pitch this week? Well, why you can't pitch? Because I really don't feel like I don't know if I'm good enough yet. You can't even do what's required of you because you still dealing with esteem issues. So if you want an ROI, the number 4, put an asterisk. Is it asterisk? How do you pronounce that word? Anyway, put a star next to that one. I got to get healed if I want the maximum ROI. Because if I'm not healed, I'm only going to do some of the work and not all of the work. I'm only going to do the work that makes me feel comfortable and not the work that gets the result. So if I'm not healed, it's a good chance that I won't get the maximum ROI. And it's a good chance that I'm going to watch everybody else who's in the same program that I'm in, who's at the same conference that I am in, and I'm going to watch them get the result and they watch. I'm going to sit in the back row because I thought that investing in myself for the front row was too much. And I'm going to watch the front row go crazy some kind of way because they don't have an obstructive view. But because I decided to be in the back because I didn't think investing in myself at that level was enough, I'm probably not going to get the same result as the front row. Because my money mindset is such lack. I just thought $400 wasn't going to work because I know the $400 came with the front row and a private mastermind session with the expert. But I just felt like just being in the room was enough, even though I have a history of knowing that just being in the room ain't never been enough for me because I've been in plenty of rooms and I still ain't got from where I am. But my lack mindset is running and making so many decisions for me that I can't even get myself up to the front row to get the results that the front row gets. Heal. Gwendolyn saying it's the sassy for me. You know I be getting sassy, Gwendolyn. That makes sense? So heal from your lack mindset, heal from your insecurities, heal from your people pleasing, heal from your, and that will help you, will get your ROI will go crazy. I'm in a mastermind right now. I've already got such an ROI on my return on investment, and it's only about to get better. Like we just getting started. So I'm just saying, that's it. Yeah, Kiwi, that's it. I don't know. Like this is the point. Like if this is in person, I just like y'all figure out the rest. Cut the camera and the lights off. Y'all figure out the rest. Listen, this was about what's about to happen. We just wrapped up our 30-day vegan salt, oil, and sugar-free challenge just yesterday. And we already decided that we're going to run it back. We're going to do it again in December. So December is going to be prep. January is going to be the actual challenge. So we start January 1st, 2025. And we're going to prep starting in December. We're going to open up pre-registration soon. Like I was telling Key, like, we're not going to start with registration. We're going to start way early just to make sure y'all like get in our ecosystem and understand our energy over here. Because if y'all miss this challenge, you miss one of the best Junes of your life. Like we had so much fun. Giving up salt, oil, chicken, eggs, and dairy and seafood, we had a good time. And so if you want to have that experience with us, then we're going to be opening up pre-registration soon for the next one. And so look out for that. I want to have it open within the next 2 weeks. And so more of that is coming. Until now, listen, YouTube, I need y'all to do something for me. We approaching 500 subscribers. I would love to get there as quickly as possible. And so if you're watching on YouTube, the live replay, whatever, if you can hit the subscribe for me button, I would really, really appreciate it. I want to make sure our reach is far and wide as much as possible, because I want to make sure I put integrous, honest, entertaining, and valuable information in front of as many people as possible. So if you guys could subscribe to the YouTube channel, that's my only ask for today as we go to the next level. All right, Kiwi put the link for Farm to Table on Instagram. Listen, I forgot we're currently enrolling in Farm to Table. Shout out to Naps. I forgot we're currently enrolling in Farm to Table until July 8th. So if you're listening to this before July 8th, 2024, then we're currently enrolling for my plant-based coaching program, Farm to Table, which is been around since 2016, and it has nothing but a phenomenal history of helping people with the adaptation of a whole food plant-based lifestyle. So if that's something you guys are interested in, we'll make sure we have the link in the show notes and everything, because we are a lot of people from the challenge are moving in the Farm to Table to continue on their plant-based journey with us. And I'm super excited about it because I love people who just understand that DIY ain't it. Trying to do it yourself ain't it, man. That's the best lesson I probably learned years ago when I started investing in coaches and programs. It's like, doing it yourself it's exhausting, because not only do you got to filter through a ton of information, free information in the determine what's valuable and what's not. You got to determine what's for you and what's not. You got to determine where to start and where to stop. Like, it just becomes so overwhelming. So for me, I just do better when I have a coach, a community, and a curriculum that's already built out. And that's you too. And you have some chronic health challenges that you need to get in front of, then we definitely invite you to Farm to Table plant-based coaching program. So we'll be enrolling until July 8th for that. And so want to make sure that you guys have an opportunity to get in the room and get started with us and take your health to the next level. Gwen on YouTube said, June did it for me. Let's go. June was so lit. It was amazing. If you guys are watching me on social media, I put some clips up. I'm going to put some more up today. It was a fine time. Thug life. If you know, you know. All right, y'all. I'm out of here until next Monday. You guys have a phenomenal week. Bye, guys.